Thank you. So I'm Rohit Sharma. I'm part of Micron team. I'm taking care of pre-sales, post-sales, primarily technical sales, solution architecting for the entire portfolio that we have for Micron, for India as well as SAARC region. So just to introduce you to Micron technology, kind of 43, 44-year-old organization we already are. There are thousands of locations we are spread across and kind of 49,000 team members we have. We are the fourth largest semiconductor company, although not that known a bit, but we are the only US based organization in this field, and we are the only one who makes and the second only out of two that makes SSD as well as DRAM put together. For some of the slides I'll quickly move on, and I do have another guest speaker that is from this industry only, and he'll take you from an industry perspective and he'll add his subject matter expertise into the topic as well. So I'll quickly roll through some of the slides. The primary reason you should know about Micron is because of this particular slide, and if you want to remember anything out of the entire presentation, definitely this is the slide to remember. We are known for innovations, and the kind of innovation that we have built over the years, right? When we started in 1978, in 1979, the first usable product or economically viable product we were able to make, and the recent ones, the announcement that we have made. In 2021, we shipped the first 1 alpha DRAM. We are already doing the 1 beta DRAM as well. And we already launched the 176 layer 3D NAND in enterprise class products as well. And as we speak, we have already launched the 232 layer 3D NAND products in the client side. And soon we will launch them in the enterprise class products as well. This is the basic reason why you should be talking to Micron, because all that VFX that you had been seeing all throughout the event, all that works really well when there is a hardware which is built on these all innovations. Like, not all NAND is created equally, and the kind of innovation we have done is state of the art, as well as there is nobody else doing work in that particular direction as well. Like, we were the first one who launched QLC based SATA SSDs in 2018. So it was the industry's first QLC based SATA SSD. Nobody went into that market. So the entire onus of pushing it to the market, making the market knowledgeable about that product, and then use it in their products as well, or the solutions that they create out. The entire onus was on Micron only. Initially it took a little bit while to generate interest into that particular product, but later on, kind of for 6 months we had no supply availability. I mean, the entire stock was sold out for that particular product. That is the kind of innovation we bring in this particular industry. 1 alpha nanometer DRAM, we already launched 2 years back. 1 beta DRAM is already out there. 232 layer 3D NAND is already there, and just with this announcement, we are almost 3 to 4 quarters ahead than most of our competitors. Although it might sound like all technical stuff, but primarily the advantage that you get out of it would be lower latency, higher performance, lower cost. The size becomes really smaller. That is the kind of advantage we are able to bring in into this particular industry. This is why you can see that at this small a size, you can create overall 4 terabyte kind of capacity available. That all happens when there is something beneath from a technology standpoint perspective, and we are able to converge a lot more NAND cells onto a smaller space. With 232 layer 3D NAND, we were able to bring down the size as well, kind of 30% smaller cell size we were able to create. Then the entire portfolio that we have, right from archival storage, most of it was taken care of by tape. Still it is the leading technology out there. Then capacity storage, fast storage, and CXL is a new trend that is coming in. Kind of 2025 will be the time frame when CXL would be mainstream. This will give you the advantage that the processor will directly be able to talk to the memory at a speed that is not possible with any of the technology that is right now there. A DMA kind of technology talk they'll be able to do right from processor to the storage, and that capacity also would be in multiple terabytes. That kind of solution offering nobody else in the industry will be able to do, and the entire portfolio that is there, nobody else is able to take care of that. Once we launched our 5210 drive, I'll come to that point later on as well in the slide. but primarily we were targeting the 10K RPM kind of hard disk drives. Now, when we want to go into the other kind of hard disk drive market, which is kind of 10 to 12 terabyte capacity or 16 terabyte, 18 terabyte capacity, there we are launching newer products as well, and then we will go into those segments, and you will see more and more market share being gained by the semiconductor industry against the expense of hard disk drive as well. Then this is the entire portfolio that Micron will take care of, and whenever you are designing any kind of solution, that is the reason why you should be talking to Micron, because the lines are blurring. Initially from a laptop or standpoint perspective, everything was DDR4 normal SODIMMs only. Now LP4, LP5 is being put in out there, low power DDR. That kind of technology convergence will keep on happening, and we are the only one who takes care of the entire portfolio, right? Whether it is from an industrial standpoint perspective, a very high temperature range, like you create a solution wherein very high temperature would be achieved. So kind of semiconductor we are able to create even SSD drives that can go up to 95 degree, 105 degree, 115 degrees Celsius as well. Nobody else takes care of that particular segment. We are number one in this field, primarily where quality is required the highest. In automotive industry, where definitely you can have fatal kind of accidents as well. No other industry typically requires that kind of quality which an auto component would require, and we make that quality standard as well, which is why we are number one out there. In networking field also we are number one, because the highest kind of performance that you want, that would be required in a networking kind of product. That also we are able to make. From an SSD standpoint perspective, SATA SSD, SAS SSD, NVMe SSD, in all three fields we were there, and we came out of that SAS SSD market primarily because we saw that most of the people who were looking to consolidate on cost perspective, they moved to the SATA SSD, and the ones who wanted higher performance only, they moved to the NVMe SSDs, which is why that is the only one being cut. We came out of that market because of these reasons only, and which is why you should be talking to us in case you are going toward that particular offering as well. Then there are two ways in which we reach out to our customer. There are two brands that we created, Crucial brand as well as Micron brand. Crucial is primarily for aftermarket upgrade. If you have bought any HP or a Dell, Lenovo kind of laptop or a desktop and you want to upgrade it, then you would want to go with the Crucial brand, and therein from an aftermarket sales perspective, single retail packaging is there. Although from a Micron brand perspective, typically we are trying to cater to the OEM customers. Therein they put in those devices into our SSDs as well as DRAM into their laptops or desktops, and then they sell out to you. And they will have their own separate kind of requirements. They would want firmware changes, they would want firmware, our firmware to be aligned with their firmware, they might want screws to be changed or torque value to be different than that we normally create based on their particular design. All that kind of requirement typically a normal retail user will never have, which is why that Crucial brand was created. And both the brand from a technology standpoint perspective, the NAND that we create and the components that go internally, all that is same. So from a technical standpoint perspective, both the products are same, but again the target audience is different and their requirements and their demands are different, which is why we have created these two different brands. Now moving on to the Micron branded products and primarily taking care of the enterprise or the data center market. Therein these all products are there, and I would like to mention this 5210 iron SSD. This was the SSD that we primarily positioned against a 10K RPM hard disk drive. There were several tiers that hard disk drive industry created, 15K RPM hard disk drive, then 10K RPM hard disk drive, then there are nearline kind of SAS drives as well. All the markets we were able to go into. 15K RPM drive we were already cheaper way back. 10K RPM hard disk drive, when we launched this particular drive in 2018, we went ahead and we were almost $ per gigabyte level, we were same as them. Now we want to go against 10, 12, 16, 18 terabyte kind of hard disk drives, and therein we are launching 30 terabyte kind of drive as well at a very if cost effective, in a very cost effective manner, and that particularly would be to remove the kind of hard disk drives so that we can consolidate a lot of hard disk drives onto a same single to use server, and therein you will be able to achieve the kind of TCO that you otherwise would be achieving with a hard disk drive kind of solution. Plus, you will get power efficiencies and all the benefits from a performance standpoint perspective that you any which ways get with any SSD based solution or a flash based solution. Another offering from our side that will be crucial to make any of your VFX kind of solution, any software that you want to run. In case you want the highest kind of performance, there are only three factors primarily. One is computing power, so CPU would be there. Then there is memory as well as the drive. These three factors should be working at their best level possible so that you get the best kind of animation that you want to do. Your target should be achieved. For all that, CPU industry is way ahead any which ways. That typically is not the bottleneck, and the kind of number of cores every year you are able to almost double. But the bottleneck typically resides either on the memory side or on the hard disk drive, which is why this DDR5, because at each core level, the memory that we are able to provide from a DDR4 level is way low. The only solution then is to move to the DDR5 level because it doubles the data rates, burst length, almost everything it is able to double. Even the channels, initially in DDR4, there is only a single independent channel. Now we are able to carve out two independent channels as well. And from a refresh level perspective as well, a single bank we are able to refresh. Otherwise, out of a bank group of 4, earlier if one is getting refreshed, the other 3 were also not servicing you. But now, if that one bank is getting refreshed, the other 3 at least can serve IO for you. That is the kind of advantage DDR5 architecture brings for you. Now, most of the time when any of our competitors would be sharing anything with you, they would be primarily saying that the SATA is dead. Most of the semiconductor industry is coming out of SATA SSD as well, but you can see the numbers. Initially, analysts and everybody thought that the SATA tail will be really small and will be dead pretty soon. But still, you can see that 27 exabyte is the market, and more so in this part of the world than in US or in Europe, which is why SATA, we are concentrating on that, and almost this entire market, we are the leaders in this particular market, and we want to assure you that we will continue in the SATA market always. Right now, we have our product 5400 already launched for this particular market, and in case it is required, we will come out with 5500 as well. If we are not coming out with 5500, we will always continue 5400 till there is any SATA market left. Because eventually, NVMe market would take over. But even at this particular point in time, more so from an enterprise world, the client world has already switched on to NVMe bandwagon, and there are other reasons because a single laptop is being used by a single person only, right from boot to every use case that you are doing in a particular laptop. Everything has to be done on that particular drive only, which is why client market is more suited to an NVMe segment, but not so in the server world. In a server world, if you are creating a 2U server with 24 drives of say 7.68 TB SATA versus a 2U server with 24 drives of 7.68 TB NVMe, the server with SATA drives will be cheaper from an overall perspective. Although at a single drive to drive level perspective, NVMe drive 7.68 TB will be cheaper than a 7.68 TB SATA drive now, which is why we would want all that discussions, in all that discussions, please involve us, and we will be able to guide you the kind of right product that you would be able to fit in your particular solution and achieve a lowest TCO as well as the highest kind of performance that that solution can have. Then from an India presence perspective, RMA and support perspective, we are serviced by Kaizen, almost 45 plus locations across the country they are serving you. So in case there is any after sales support required, we will be able to help you out there. I'll quickly roll through, I'm running out of time. So this is again the same DDR5 benefits that are there in enterprise class world are also brought to the client world, and from a uniqueness perspective, we are the only ones who cater to the entire market, both Windows as well as the Mac world. Everything we create for DRAM is completely built in-house. Most of our competitors, they are just assembling it. They are not creating the NAND that goes inside those and the DRAM per se. From a compatibility tools perspective, we have the entire compatibility tools. I'll be discussing this in later slides as well. And then performance recovery also we offer up to JEDEC needs. This is the entire Crucial portfolio. The ones on top is the highest performing NVMe SSD, and that typically a gamer or an enthusiast would use that kind of drive. The lowest bottom one is the one when you want to move from a hard disk drive to SSD. Then these are our external SSD products, X6 as well as X8. Then there are tools which as a single user you can also use. Just Google Crucial Scanner as well as Crucial Advisor tool. On the Advisor tool, if you'll just put HP laptop, this EliteBook particular model 8440p, and it will give you what all SSDs and DRAM that are compatible with that. There is another B2B ordering memory tool in which you can do the same for server side as well. Then this is the summary. Of course, we are top DRAM and SSD manufacturers. I'll not go through the entire one. You can read. But the last one, we want to be a trusted advisor. We would help you to create a right size solution for your particular requirement. Whatever be your performance goals, power efficiency goals, will help you achieve that. Whether a client side drive or enterprise class drive or an industrial kind of product would be useful for you, whether an RDIMM or an LRDIMM, SLC, MLC, TLC, all that discussions do keep on happening. Even from QLC standpoint perspective, now people are moving from TLC to QLC. The entire industry will move eventually, which is where we will be able to help you out and choose the right product for you. The kind of different form factors like M.2, it is there in SATA as well as in NVMe. With our tools, you can see that in your particular laptop or your particular system, whether an M.2 SATA would be a fit or an NVMe would be a fit. In all these scenarios, we will be able to help you out. Now, I would like to invite Kabir. He is a subject matter expert, and while I was talking from a semiconductor industry perspective, he will be able to relate to you how actually all these products, these technology and innovations would be able to help you in achieving your particular goals.
Yeah, hello. This is Kabir Ulhas. I own a company called as Windle House, and we deal in production technology of non-fiction titles. Amazon and Netflix India have been our primary clients, and we provide solutions like data management on set, designing their whole technical workflow, and in recent times also providing virtual post-production solutions. During the production of what my colleague Rohit just now explained, a lot of the catalog that we just saw, specifically the enterprise class solution, is something that we have been utilizing for a few years now. With the growing need of 4K and 8K resolutions coming on cameras, and not just one or two, but going with multiple streams of cameras being recorded on a single day, where the numbers range from 5 cameras to all the way up till 10 cameras, or it also goes beyond around 25 cameras a day. That's when you can't be dependent on conventional hard drive technology. SSDs is what comes in, and SSDs alone won't be workable. You need to use them in a RAID kind of a format, and that's where Micron has been a performance-driven, a reliable, and a sustainable partner who has been coming up with reliable SSDs, and the solutions have been working efficiently for us. We have been using, in production technology, we have been utilizing SSD RAIDs provided by Micron on the DIT solutions as well as ingest solutions. Ingest is one of those mediums where you can always have you can have multiple feeds being directed, multiple feeds of camera feeds directed to a recording solution. So whether it's a single cam or a 4 cam or a 10 camera feed, instead of going through conventional recorders like Keypro, they are directly getting recorded on direct attached storage. And this is exactly where SSD based RAID solutions come in. With 4K coming into considerations, the data read-write speeds have been escalated to a level where you need devices which could sustain read-write speeds of almost 1200 to 1500 MBs per second. And that's where Micron has stood up. We have been utilizing an enterprise class 8 TB based SSD, which is being utilized to store data and record live feeds of cameras coming straight to the ingest solution. This is during the production part. And next we have the post-production solution, where computers, like it's as easy as solutions like AnyDesk and TeamViewer, which we have been using on a non-commercial platform. So virtual post-production solutions where workstations are kept at our end and users across the globe are accessing these systems remotely. And when you have such solutions, and when you have titles working all the way from clients like Netflix and Amazon, they do look at reliable, sustainable, efficient yet performance driven solutions. And that's when they reach out to us, and we could provide such solutions to them, when we could have storage solutions provided by a company like Micron, which could not just provide us with the total number of drives that we have, would also be innovative and technically sound in providing technical assistance as and when we are required for. So this is us. And yeah, I mean, this is something that we have been doing, and Micron has been a part of the whole organization. And yeah, if we have any questions to look into specifically related to storage, we can get into it. Else, we are also looking at, considering it's a more of a VFX summit, we also look at extending our services in the live production division. And we hope that storage technologies and servers be utilized in virtual production, not necessarily in a single cam environment, but even in environments where we have more than 2 or 3 cameras. So that's it. That's all about us and about Micron. Any questions if we have, we can go ahead, or else we can skip to our next speaker.
So from a background perspective, I have worked with EMC, Hitachi, 3PAR, NetApp. So I have a storage background as well. In case you would like to hear anything about storage or any query about storage, or the way you want to design your particular solution, not just from a semiconductor industry perspective, from storage side, SAN, NAS, CAS as well, or any other new trend that you would have seen that you would like to share or comment.
So what is the future of the technical product like an Microsoft Hub, Microsoft Future Hub? There is a one device where you can take it, move to the presentation, and Surface Hub. Anything in the same way you have been launching to related to it? Surface Hub, anything similar to Surface Hub of Microsoft?
No, not necessarily. So if you look at the bigger
Would
numbers,
it also helpful for the studio's pipeline to work more efficiently?
so post-production studio pipelines have been working very efficiently since everything has gone virtual. Gone are those days where editors used to go to a post-production studio and they used to work, in collaboration with each other, all connected, like 10 users connected to a single server, and they're all working out of it. I don't know how much has this been spilled to the VFX industry, but at least the offline part of editorials or post-production has been switched over to a virtual workstation solution. I'm not really aware about how the Surface Hub is going to be effectively useful in such a pipeline. But yes, virtual workstation is something that even bigger companies like Microsoft, Google with their G Suite workspace, and even Amazon with their AWS services is soon going to step into this. So they have actually started deploying services on these grounds. A simple attempt is to not have, or rather to have a remote workstation available for our talented creatives. So that's where the aim lies, and that's where they will be looking at exploring. I'm sure VFX industry soon will come down to a point where the workstations are kept at a remote location. It's something equivalent to a render farm engine, but which is something absolutely remote. Like all the users will be sitting down on their lowest configuration of your computer systems sitting back at their home, and they will be accessing systems remotely. And when you do that, you need a lot of infrastructure, and that's where fast storage speeds, internet connections, your fiber networking, this is all what will kick into. So yeah, I mean, this is what the place is so far.
In coming 5 years, what kind of changes are you accepting into this storage industries?
So storage, primarily it's the read-write bandwidth which needs to be dealt with, and more of in the space of sustained read-write. If you see a conventional hard drive RAID setup or a server setup, it consumes a lot of power to deliver a certain performance requirement. With SSDs or with coming technology, I believe the performance is something we already have a reference to the performance, but what will be revised is the power consumption or the efficiency of the overall setup, which will lead to a better working environment, something which is more stable, more error free, and consumes less power at the same time. That's where we are headed towards.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Vishal. I had a question from a broadcaster's perspective. Would meta tagging be also enabled, when we are storing content? Because there's a pipeline of a lot of TV shows being produced constantly, and sometimes we have to use footage from the past shows. And it also helps in syndication when you're distributing content, whether to different cable operators or DTH or internationally also. So, how is meta tagging, managed in this situation?
Sorry, you're asking about meta tagging.
In the storage, so when you're storing the content, so if we how we have to store it in a particular format where I can use the content whenever we need, so it's tagged in a way it's easy to find across, because teams keep changing, right?
Yeah.
So easy to discover basically through tagging and stuff.
So I think tagging or indexing, for that matter, is trying to is something that's being looked after in the recent storage solutions that has been, irrespective of the OS dependency or the medium dependency. I think it's more of a software dependent question or a software dependent workflow that we need to look into rather than hardware. But irrespective of that, even if you see archival solutions like LTOs and optical disk arrays or any other conventional hard drive based processes, I think since the inception of QuickTime, indexing has been an important part of it, so that it's you go by tag based searches and tag based indexing. I think that's already being taken care of. But when it comes to specifically looking at archival solutions, I think even Snowball from Amazon right now, it does have indexing solution with it. So I think that's already being incorporated and making it, I believe there should be a solution soon which can help reach out to a specific content much easily across all platforms. But specifically for this, there has been no development as such, apart from just indexing of titles. As
Yeah, and in fact, from a categorization perspective, the cache solutions were initially designed to take care of this particular requirement only. SAN, NAS typically had their own kind of solutions, but whenever you have a metadata kind of requirement, all that metadata and that tagging can go into an object, which is why an object kind of storage would be much better suitable. Again, not a hardware question like he initially said. This is primarily a software design that you want to do. So rather than SAN or a NAS storage, you would be typically looking to an object storage. And object storage is definitely flourishing. And the basic reason why I was initially saying that we are now after hard disk drives, that to 12, 18 TB kind of drives, and which is why we are launching the product that will come out in almost 2 months. That will go up to almost 30 terabyte capacity, and there will be a way cheaper solution, and therein you can create your object storage in a much cost efficient manner. The only thing that we are not able to provide the customer is the kind of dollar per gigabyte that hard disk drive still provides. But hard disk drive industry, it will not be able to catch semiconductor industry from a capacity standpoint perspective. They increase like 8 TB, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, maximum 22. Few years back we were 8 terabyte, 15 terabyte is already in production, 30 terabyte is already in production in high performance range. In 2 months, we will launch in the value segment as well, 30 terabyte. Next year, you'll see we'll come out with 60 terabyte. So that we keep on doubling, 15, 20. Hard disk drive, they go 2 terabytes higher in general, which is why the kind of dollars per gigabyte, although we don't have that much NAND available worldwide, but again, we'll have to pick and choose the kind of pockets that will be there, and media and industry, entertainment industry definitely would be that. And object storage, once you carve out onto these kind of storages, it will give you the kind of performance that you want at a lower TCO that was being used in hard disk drive, but the solution from a overall perspective should be an object storage.
Sure. Thank you so much for the contribution. Rohit, a quick question from our gentleman out there.
This question is to Mr. Kabir. How technologically improved this whole thing from last 2-3 years? How cost effective you are finding it? Because with Micron's new technology, I feel it has become more cost effective than the previous, the data industry and everything. I feel you will be better.
Yeah.
Sure, Kabir.
So it goes both ways, both for our clients as well as us as technology developers. So in simple words, to achieve a certain performance or a storage-based performance, what we required was to go with a SAN kind of a solution. It requires an expensive infrastructure. Your hard drives cost a lot. The hard drives couldn't be much scalable. Scalable as in terms of their hard drive space. It can only be scalable once you're using it in abundance, put together in a storage infrastructure. And also the most important part, which normally gets neglected, is the power consumption. So this was all affecting a lot. Designing your storage, going with selected hardwares, then the power consumption behind it, everything was a troublesome. I won't really say a troublesome problem, but it was an expensive affair. Yeah. And then even for our clients, it used to be an expensive affair because it's expensive for us. Now what has happened is everything that a SAN can do, a simple NAS can do with an SSD based solution, the purchase costs are roughly around 50%, but the execution cost, the overheads behind running this is hardly 1/10. So it's a huge difference, and performance is definitely at least 2 times. The performance is 2 times of what we had on conventional NAS and fiber channel NAS. Again, I'm not speaking about consumer-based NASs. We are speaking about NAS which has JBOD, and we use fiber networks, and we work on 25 GB network lines. So that's where we stay at. So this is, I mean, it has been a cheaper solution, cheaper, reliable, yet a performance-driven solution. And I think this is where the sooner competition is going to be, like to move ahead out of hard drives and get into an SSD-based solution. And moving forward, for clients like Amazon and Netflix, when you're working on a non-fiction title, you have 12 editors working on it. You actually need to distribute 12 workstations and storage and look after their service and everything. Now the client is not dealing with any of these things. They are dealing with a recommended certified vendor. They go out, they dump their material, and everything goes virtual. So it's something that's being picked up in the US. This is a standard norm for offline edits. So I believe in India also we'll be looking at getting this thing, being established as an industry norm. I don't know how early will that be, but at least in the non-fiction side, and with us dealing with international clients, that has been a part and parcel of late. So yes, in the past 2-3 years, I think the amount of content which is getting created, both in a fiction, non-fiction end, it is extensively increasing. And to keep up with such demands, you need efficient solutions, efficient, wholesome workflow solutions, which could effectively help you out in the long run. Not just you, but also your clients. So I think that adoption is something that's going to be quite competitive in coming times. So yeah, I hope you answered you. Yeah, thank you.